Hi, I'm Dr. Blair Masters with AcuSmart, and I wanted to talk today about how to use your electroacupuncture stimulator along with the symptoms book that you get when you get one of these. Um, anyway, make sure that you're sticking a battery in it. It's just a standard AA that you stick in and screw down, and then the controls on this thing are extremely simple. Electricity, when you turn it on, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. It goes up to 9, which is quite aggressive depending on your battery strength. I'm back down to 0. The electricity goes out the tip and into the body and around and returns back into the device through the handle, and thus making the circuit. And electricity needs to make a circuit. So this is large intestine 4, and I am turning it on. There's 0, I don't feel a thing. There's 1, I'm starting to feel that a little bit right there, and I feel it a little bit more as I go up, and you can see my body is starting to respond, and now I'm at number 4, and you can get up quite high, which is quite uncomfortable. Not necessary when you're doing acupuncture. For sure, electroacupuncture, it is not necessarily the more the better, for sure. So keep that in mind, although stimulation is important when it comes to acupuncture. If you're not feeling it, there's some debate on this, but in general, you want to be feeling it so you're sure that there's actual electricity flowing. So back down to 0. And what do you do when okay, we know that thing works. So what? What does it do for you? The book that I've written, the AcuSmart Symptoms book, and I am going to disappear on you guys and pull up the book right here. And this is in PDF form, and I'm just scrolling through it. Let me get this guy out of the way. And if you have any kind of modern computer, you can search it right here. You can search the book for whatever kind of problem you're having. At the beginning, it talks a little bit about acupuncture and how important it is, how essential it is for your health, um, how to use the device, particularly with children. And actually, I'll go into that real quick here before we get out of here. I do talk about vitamin dosage just a little bit. I'll show you why I talk about that here in a second. And then I get right into symptoms. Now, they are roughly alphabetical, although it may not be exactly what you're thinking that that is in the book. So, you might need to search and scroll through and take a look at various things. There's almost 100 different symptoms in here, so keep that in mind as you go through. But let's just start at the beginning. Abdominal pain here, and these are acupuncture points that have been shown to be helpful for abdominal pain. And you can see LI4, that's large intestine 4, that's the point that I was just stimulating just a second ago. And as you scroll down further, um, I talk about, I usually have a page or two about abdominal pain, and a little bit about that, the different causes, what you can do about it. I do reference other techniques besides acupuncture in here, such as massaging the ileocecal valve. I talk about that here. Um, I also talk about emotional techniques here and that sort of thing. But and then I also talk about supplementation such as bromelain, licorice, slippery elm bark, aloe, papain, pepsin, blah blah blah. And I go into that. And that is one of the reasons why I talked about dosage at the beginning. and then on to Achilles tendinitis and acne and so on. And some of these have quite a long commentary, and like acne has a fairly short commentary here. Um, alcoholism. Um, alcoholism, I have a pretty long commentary on that and how to help it. But let's just go to our search bar and let's search heart. Heart. Okay, and anytime heart is mentioned, it's going to show up. So, fluid retention. Let's go to palpitation. Palpitation. So, palpitation, electrical issue with the heart, blah, blah, blah. And I talk about different things that you can do. But let's go ahead and do some electroacupuncture of the heart system of the listed points. Now, how did I come up with these points? These are called formula, and over the thousands of years of acupuncture, I'm going to make this a little bit different size so you can see a little bit of both. Oh, come on. There we go. Over the thousands of years of acupuncture, different acupuncturists have written down, hey, this point worked really well for this heart problem, such as palpitations. This point worked really good for whatever, acne or abdominal pain, or you can see this next one down, excessive perspiration. Um, or well, let's go on to what's our next one here. Snoring. Snoring is related to heart a lot of times. And I'll use this as an example because it shows points on the face, which are easy. And we might actually show you some other stuff here before we get out of here. But, and they've published books, and people keep track of points that work really well for different problems, and it's been compiled. And these compilations are widely available, but they're usually extremely detailed, and they're for acupuncturists. You know, I tried to make this so it was really good for people who are not necessarily acupuncturists, people that can help themselves on an everyday basis by doing acupuncture stimulation using a device like this. So you might say, okay, well, I want to help my snoring. This is something that I'd like to help. Well, let's look into this. Snoring is often associated with heart problems. That is very true. Supporting your heart is very good for snoring. It really is. And possible chronic inflammation in the body. These often go together. Taking omega-3 fatty acids often help heart. Hawthorn berry, coenzyme Q10, exercise, weight loss, um, helping snoring. Following a Paleolithic diet is also helpful. So what do you do with these points that are on here? Stimulate each point. If you're having a really significant problem, you might be like, okay, I really want to get rid of this. I'm going to do this every day. And that is totally fine. That is perfectly fine. If it's a lesser issue, you might want to be in a situation where, like, well, I'm going to do this one 3 times a week or whatever it is. And that is fine. More is often better. Keep that in mind. And when it comes to the amount of time you put into stimulation. If you're in a situation, times per week, let's say that, I would usually recommend doing each point for about 15 seconds, 30 seconds, anywhere in there. And I really like to grab this thing and, oh, I'm watching my favorite TV show, and this is less applicable than it used to be, but oh, there's a commercial that came on. I'm gonna stimulate the points during the commercial. Um, we don't have as many commercials as we used to, but it's very helpful to kind of get a break like that, or set a timer on your phone. This one I'm going to stimulate for each of these points for 15 seconds, and I'm going to hit my button and just do it while I'm watching television, that sort of thing. It's very simple. Just fit it into your everyday routine when you're sitting around reading, that's really good. If you're watching a video, if you're watching a television show, something like that, watching the little weather on TV, whatever it is. Anyway, so grab your device, look up what points, and in this case, snoring, large intestine 4 is a great one for that. And there we go. I'm feeling that. Count to 15. You're done. Do the other side. Same thing. If you are at 1 or so, which I am right here, then it's no big deal to just move on to the next point. If you go up to 4 or 5 and you move on to another point, such as 4, if I were to place this on my large intestine 20, which is right next to the nose there, I would feel a significant shock, so don't do that. Go back down to 0, place it on there, and then go back up. Now I'm at 1 and I'm feeling that. If I started this at 4, I would have been in real trouble here. So don't do that. Go back down to 0, especially points that might be very, very sensitive, such as this one. And I'm back down to 0. And then I move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. The points that are midline, such as CV17, there's only 1. The points that are not midline, such as large intestine 20, large intestine 4, spleen 6, which is a very powerful point for many, many things. Heart 7, that's a great point, kind of right here. And very good point for all things heart. And again, we're on snoring, but the heart is related to snoring in many, many cases. So stimulate that for 15 seconds and then move on to the other side. Anything that's not in the midline, you've got 2 of them, 1 on each side, and be sure you stimulate both of them, although they're both not listed. So this is just kind of a little bit of a primer in regards to how to stimulate acupuncture points. Just really briefly on children, what you want to do, keep in mind, I'm going to go back to 0 here. Keep in mind, electricity goes out here through the body and then back in over here. So it makes a circuit. If you're stimulating a child, what you want to do is have them maybe sit on your lap or something like that. And this goes for infants or toddlers or any kid, it doesn't really matter. Sit down with them and make skin contact with them, and then you place it on the point, or you can have the child do it if they're old enough. Place it on the point that is associated with a symptom, and then go ahead and turn it on. And if you can't communicate with them, they're not old enough, see if they pull away or something like that. If that's the case, what you can do, and I do go into this a little bit in the book, is you can actually put your finger here when we're at 1. Okay, there's nothing here. If you put your finger here, I do feel that it pulls about 50% of the stimulation away from the tip, so it won't stimulate the child as much. They won't feel it as much, particularly if it's on, say it's on a point like large intestine 20, something like that. It does help lessen the amount of stimulation if you're like, oh, that's too much. That really feels too much. Or you can wait till your battery dies down a little bit. That helps sometimes too. So anyway, there's lots of options in regards to that. Making the circuit is really what the most important thing is when it comes to electroacupuncture. So I hope this kind of primer was helpful. Use this; it really works. Balance your acupuncture system. The having a balanced acupuncture system is extremely powerful. It really is. It's so helpful. Use this book. There's lots of different symptoms in it that are associated with lots of different problems in the body. And it is a great way to take control of your health and be proactive in regards to getting healthier, getting better, and making your acupuncture system more balanced. Make this go along with everything else on the Try to Health that you're doing, whatever nutrition you're doing, emotional work that you're doing, exercise that you're doing, and that sort of thing. It's just another part to an entire picture, a holistic picture of your health. Thanks for listening, and I hope this was helpful.